Game time. Boom. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is just a sinister beverage right there.
We'll see you for the most insane beer of 2020. This beer is 2020. You'll find out why. Stand by. This year's 12th and final of the 12 Beers of Christmas is an ale of epic proportions. Merchant's Quadruple IPA from BlackStack Brewing in Midway, St. Paul. More of a hop liqueur than a big IPA, the beer bursts forward with an explosive hoppy bouquet and warming alcohol. As one of my favorite beers of 2020, I couldn't wait to talk to Murphy and Matt from BlackStack about the intense hopping and fermentation that went into this project. And as this is our final beer of Christmas and we were pretty loose at the time of recording, I gotta warn you, the language gets a bit blue here, so sensitive viewers might want to skip this one, but I really hope you don't. It's full of great ideas and information if you're out hunting a giant IPA like this. The 12 Beers of Christmas is brought to you with ongoing support from BSG Handcraft, Imperial Yeast, and the Patreon supporters of Chop and Brew. Join them at patreon.com/chopandbrew. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me the most insane beer I've had in the 2020. The nightmare that is, or maybe the lemonade that you made out of lemons in 2020. But this is a quadruple IPA from BlackStack. So do y'all call this a Q IPA or an III IPA?
We actually call it an IV IPA. That's Roman numerals.
Yeah, we just call it regrets most of the time, but
so I will.
No, we tend to say QIPA.
QIPA, I like it.
I don't know. I'm very I'm like borderline OCD.
It's crazy.
So I just get
it's crazy with a QR code.
Yeah, dude, this shit is.
So for the last beer,
12
Beers of Christmas, we got to get a little emotional. So like Murph, Matt, me trying to get in focus. Here we go. Like, I want to say that BlackStack is the brewery that I missed the most out of everything in 2020 because it is my neighborhood.
That's so sweet.
It's the brewery where I would go in and I'd see your dad, Murph. I'd see Scott, or I'd see Murph. I might see Matt. I'll see Jeremy King. I might see Cody and Lena. You just see people from the Midway in this brewery. And this brewery's got kind of like some Wales bra reputation, but in the end, it's like the Cheers of Midway. So, but then the beers come out like this.
I love that, dude.
It's not like the Miller Lite of Midway. So, it means a lot to me for you guys.
There is honestly,
yeah.
I want to add to that as well, because like that is to that point, and yes, coming from the side, it's a bias, but like, you know, the beer of 2020, this crazy ridiculous like quad like 12 and a half, like just crazy amount of hop, and it's just like represent the year, and like it represents the beers that I miss, it represents the brewery that I miss, because like even for me, it's just like, you know what, that community, the environment, it's like that point. Seeing old man Scott in there, super happy, giving everybody hugs, working on some stuff in the back, seeing all the people, like 2020 in a beer, Merchants, here we go, what we missed. Seriously.
Cheers. Put it up, boys.
Cheers,
boys. So I want to talk about two things. This insane-ass beer and just what BlackStack has kind of meant for your family and then your inner circle, people like Matt, Bob, Sean, the coffee place down the way, the fucking Can Wonderland. But like first, like, so you described this as your 500th batch. You've kind of talked about the processes and the ingredient honing in over 500. Citra, Strata, Mosaic Cryo, Simcoe Cryo, Cashmere Cryo, HBC 692, Galaxy, every nook and cranny. Bro, what the fuck? Like when you guys sat down and were like, this is what we're doing, a QIPA, how do you even wrap your head around the malt, hop, yeast components of this project?
Man, it's for sure, like just building to it has been a huge part. Like we've spent, you know, like we make a shitload of triple IPAs because we love these huge, vibrant, bombastic expressions of these hops, and finding ways to weave the hops together in such a way where it's just this like beautiful juice collage. A huge part of that is like oil content. Like Malt Bill would make most sense for us to start with. Like we obviously we use we use a large portion of like very high protein malts, and that's a huge part of making that mouthfeel. But then also proteins give something for polyphenols to bond onto, and that was part of like when we were talking about colloidal stability of like how the opaqueness of these beers being related to the mouthfeel, the aroma, the sensation. Like there's a reason that we want these to be as chock full as they are, and that's just an indicator for us. Is like if those proteins are too heavy and they're falling out of suspension, they're also drying hop oils, or they're pulling hop oils out with them at the same time. So when we're building these malt bills, like we want a very clean base malt. Like, so a lot of times we're using pills. I'm sorry if I'm getting to the woods. I'm like,
no, that's the stuff that our people.
No, this is how we do beer, Murph. This is exactly it. Like, like conversation I love because like this is it. Like this is out of my realm. So, like hearing Murph talk about this is just like it's awesome.
Yeah, if something like this is based off pills, that's something people should know for sure.
Yeah, isn't that fucking Anyway, like we love pills, like specifically breeze pills, just because like the proteins are right where we want them to be. It has this beautiful subdued sweetness to it, where it's it's not knocking you over the head, but it's not nothing. Like it has this super nuanced, beautiful character to build a beautiful canvas to be fucking destroying with hop oils afterwards. So we tend to use a very small portion of flaked adjuncts. Like most of the stuff that we're tending towards is malted oats, malted wheat, malted spelt. Like we use a shitload of spelt. We fucking adore spelt. And that's true of like of our sour beers too. Like Matt. So next I'd say salts. Like we have amazing water for brewing IPAs in St. Paul. We have a carbon filter media filtration system. So we're trying to strip chlorine and fluoride, but we're trying to leave as many of the other mineral components in there as possible because we have an awesome water profile for the types of beers that we want to be brewing. So typically we're dosing back with heavy portion of calcium chloride and a lesser extent calcium sulfate. Like so for calcium chloride helps with roundness, smoothness, fullness. Sulfate is going to do more for making those hops pop.
But what about this hop bill, man? This hop bill is insane. Like you always have some really unique hop bills, but this one might take the cake.
Yeah, we spent.
That's probably the point.
I spent a lot of time scheming on this. Like it's getting to know these hops and getting like, especially the lot that we get to select, building these oil profiles. So like we have a bounty of information from Yak and Chief, who's like the main people that we source hop from. And when like as we're selecting lots, they'll send us like the oil breakdowns of everything. Spent a lot of time looking at oil breakdowns, and literally like a lot of times it's essentially like setting I can't remember the type of graph that it is, but it's like we're overlaying. Like when I'm thinking about this, I'm like setting these graphs on top of each other and like finding the roundness. Like there's like floral, grassy, spicy, tropical, like, and it's very interesting because they're like all of them are rated on different axes. Like there's like 8 different things around, and like overlaying these graphs on top of each other and you just start to see patterns like where one hop is lacking. Like there's some of the hops that we're using now are not sexy and a lot of times aren't getting mentioned on labels just because no one like Liberty has a lot of oil components that we really fucking love. And it's an old hop that is not like, no one gives a flying fuck about. So
it's like that dude in the corner, that guy in the corner that knows what's up, but he's not.
Yeah. But it's like, like maybe some of his opinions you don't want to hear about, but like he's got some gems in there. Like there's some work, and it's like when you're using those in conjunction with other ones, where you're like this is clearly lacking. Where it's and a lot of this research has been stuff that YCH has been doing to try to develop hop blends,
like through Murph's knowledge of all these years 100%. Of research, talking with all these people, reading all the articles, going through the smell. Like, so for me, I got to do my first hop thing. And like, this was like the first realm for me. I'm like, oh, okay, this makes a huge deal. This makes a huge difference. Like all these oil compounds. And it's like the level that Murph goes into on knowing the oil levels, knowing which levels of oils they are, looking at other hops besides just these trendy ones and what's going into it. That's what builds these IPAs. And like, sure, they'll get some people who kind of like scoff at like, oh, it's just like a quad IPA. What the hell is this? And oh, they all brew. It's like, no, we've been super methodical. And like, so like for Merch, it's like, oh yeah, 500 batch. Let's just go crazy into it. It's like, no, like we're like, okay, we're talking with Sean. How can we build a malt profile to make sure that this is going to ferment properly with the yeast that we have? All right, Murph, knowledge of hops for the past 5 years is like, okay, this works well. We're going on this sort of level. These are the routes. These are the times. These are the levels we're doing it. Like, we're being smart about it. We're doing the levels into it. It's not just like, let's throw a shit ton of malt, whatever it is, into the mash tun and throw all these hops because at the end of the year, it's like, no, it truly is a culmination of the parts of what we're trying to do. And it's like, all anticipating watching the fermentation is going down, house rat profile, and all of a sudden, like, let it crash. We're all smelling it. And it's like, that's fire, because, like, this is smooth as all hell. This goes down. This has just got the juiciest of juicy nose profile. And it's like, we're all drinking it right now. That is 12.5+%, and it just shoots back. Like if I was drinking that blind, it's like, oh, there's 8%. And that's because it's like, getting those hops, knowing about those oils, doing it at the right times, doing the right quantities, getting those fillers into there. And that's like, if you want to make good beer, if you want to make good IPAs and good sours and good pilsners, these are the levels, these are the details you got to do.
The fermentation, like how did you get something? Is this something that you brewed over X amount of days and kept feeding, or did you brew it once and you knew how to treat it right to ferment completely? Like, how did we get to that alcohol in a single beer?
Moonshine.
It's been a long
mass amount.
Yeah. No, the yeast blend is like, we spent a long time getting there.
This is multiple strains of yeast attacking a very high OG wort.
Ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, but it's like 29 Plato, maybe even a little bit higher for some of those, because like we're brewing 20 batches or 20 barrel batches at a time. Most days we're double batching. So usually it takes us 2 days to fill up a 60. So typically we'll brew the first 20 in, like everything, like almost all the triples, like they get the same dose of London ale, and based on how we're staggering the propping times. So like if it's a double, or like if it's a single IPA or a double IPA, we're like we'll brew 2 of the turns on one day and then the final turn the next day. A lot of times if we're doing higher gravity beers, we'll try and do 1 turn the first day, give that time to prop overnight, and then be racking onto it just to give more time for the growth curve for the
so there is a staggered, this is not a single brew day. This is kind of a staggered 2 or 3 day.
Honestly, any of the hoppy beers will be is like pretty much a 60 barrel at this point. So it'll be, like pretty much every hoppy beer is 2 days worth of brewing.
Oh, really? Like freeze
like a day and a half. What we're thinking is we're going to have a 3-vessel 30 barrel with an oversized mash tun. So the hope is that we have like a 45 barrel mash tun, so we can be comfortably mashing in these like massive imperial sours, massive imperial stouts, massive like triple, quadruple IPAs, and not have to be double mashing to get there. It's like a right now, a lot of the triple IPAs, and especially the quadruples, the only quadruple we've done is 4 turns into 150
that
barrel.
one we did.
Yeah.
Everybody,
don't worry, it won't be
Murph,
the last one. I can tell you
I
that
think
right
this
now.
might be the ultimate Christmas beer, as long as we're all just drunk and talking over each other. Like,
Ooh,
it's perfect. Yeah.
this is friends drinking and nerding out.
I feel like this is like the midway Christmas beer. This is what people in St. Paul are like.
Dude,
I need this. It's 2020. Give me a 13%, whatever. Like I want hops.
I'm offended by how well this beer turned out. Like I think all of us were worried that it was going to be a hot mess, and it was like that was
like Fusel and
and that because like we spent a really long time dialing it in, and it is like, dude, Sean has put in so much work, like where we've been mashing, so, like it, like as you get higher, you get more dextriness, and most times that would lead you to believe, or like the hope would be that means that you're finishing with more residual sugar. So like it's sweeter on the back end, and like the amount of, like we've been down to 150, like 149, we've been up to 157, and we're like the amount of work that he's done dialing in these fermentation profiles, like in terms of like how much fermentable sugar we actually have to work with, and then like and us just finding like, the yeast blend.
And like to that, we've played like all over the board of what is the right finishing gravity. So taking that end, like, all right, is it better to finish this level for the hops? Is it better to finish this? Like, and it's like we've literally played that rumble of let's play with the salts, let's play with that finishing gravity, and that goes into fermentation temp, fermentation, like all these crazy levels.
And
it's just hops.
The hops make a massive amount of difference, dude. Like,
I will say this,
like
I didn't want to throw it out there, but a couple of people were like, well, you should let Murph know this and see how he responds. So like I bought like 2 4-packs, and I took it to a lot of people I thought would appreciate it. They liked it, but the one thing I heard, which I don't agree with, but that I heard from other people, is that it's like too sweet. And I don't know if that's sweet, malt, sweet hop, sweet alcohol at this point, but like, what would you say to that?
For us, like depending on the beer, like usually our happy place is 3 to 4 Plato for standard IPAs, like 3.5 to 4.5 or up to 5. Like honestly, like I completely understand that, and I get where they're coming from, but
like when it's bone cold, I'm like, yeah, that's sweet. But like this has been out of my fridge now for like an hour and a half, and it's just like malty, it's yeasty,
and this is
like a barley wine.
This is
it's on crunk malt. It's just awesome.
This finished way higher, than. Other than this, the highest we've ever had a double IPA finish was Promise Ring, which is like the Junkyard collab that we did. And that was...
Oh, yeah, that was high.
It was 6.5. And that was,
half.
For me, that was literally me being like, okay, we found it. Like
we found our limit. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really fucking funny because in terms of, the best tool that we have to be measuring these metrics is Untapped, and it's fucking stupid. Like the higher we have them finished, the better rated they are, and it's.
I agree with. Okay, so
I love them at 4.5. Like I'm a happy camper. It gets too much for me at like 5.5 and above that, but it's just funny to see what the reception is in terms of like hard metric data of like, hey, 150 people reviewed it, and it's doing way better than the one that you had finished way drier.
Drier.
But I will also say a lot of that comes into perception of hops, like Sabro, Cashmere, Strata, like all those will be perceived sweeter. Like Free Strata was finished at 2.8 Plato, which is not high, and very much not high for a fucking New England IPA. And I had so many more people asking me, like, wow, this is really sweet. And I'm like, yeah, that's fucking Strata, dude. It's fruit punch in a fucking plant. Like, and it's.
if that quad, because like, so for me, it's like, I like my beer bone dry. Like, I come around with like sours, saisons, so I can bone dry. And so like, for me, that quad never came off as sweet. It's like, okay, like here's a realm of yours where it's at your fermentation. You're definitely going to have that residual alcohol, kind of like, I don't call alcohol sweetness, but kind of like that body to it. Yeah. And like, for me, it's like, I've always hit like, in my first realm of drinking craft beer, the first really big IPA I ever had was Molotov Cocktail. And that was like I think 14%.
Yeah, Evil Twin.
Like, yeah. That was horrifically sweet. And so that's a realm of just like,
I did not enjoy that.
And so it's like thin body, a lot of residual sugar came off as a crazy sweet. And so that's what it's like, okay, Merchants, this is, it never came off as sweet to me. It is like, it never even really came off as like full body to it. And so like, sometimes I think people really want to pick that beer apart. It's like, oh, it's a quad IPA. Like, what is it? And it's like, to me, actually, like in all the realm, I wouldn't change it down. Actually, I think if we would have gone lower on the body, I think we would have lost. I think the hops and the alcohol would have been a little too harsh. I don't think we would have gotten all that juiciness from it. I
totally agree.
Murph, Matt, what does BlackStack and the lack thereof mean to you as we tail out of this?
And the lack thereof.
As we tail out of this weird year 2020, like, what do you love about it? What do you miss about it? What do you look forward to in the next year?
Matt, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Yeah, and then we can close out on you. I think that sounds great. Yeah. BlackStack for me, and I think this is perfect. It's family, community, and unfortunately, we only have family right now. We don't have the community because of COVID right now, which kind of sucks. And so, seeing Plum, seeing the Cider Ranch, and seeing Merchants, this is just like the epitome of who we are. It's all of us working together. It's all of us creative, all of us passionate. And so like right now we have the best team. We all love and support each other. We're all passionate. We all respect each other. And so that's been, keeping me happy, keeping me sane, the support through this 2020. And looking into 2021, it's keeping up that fun, but more so it is bringing it back out to the community, to seeing people there in the tap room, talking with them directly, sharing that love that we have. And so you heard me and Mira kind of talk back and forth about it, is sharing that with everyone, seeing them in the tap room, being able to hug, being able to be close. And so it's extremely thankful for BlackStack and Chip and people like you guys to kind of like just people appreciate it. So it's emotional. It's great. Love them that they're there and cannot wait to continue to share us more in person. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're here. Like, yeah, quite literally, pretty much those exact sentiments. Like we got into this to be interfacing with people. Like like I was bartending for a long time before we started doing this, and the best. I'm guessing Matt feels the same way, but like the best fucking part of this job is when we're super fucking stoked about a beer. And then it comes out and like getting to be up front and people coming in and being like, yo, like this shit fucking slaps, dude. Like this is fucking awesome. Like seeing that visceral reaction on people's faces is 100% the thing I miss the most. Like it's the reason we got into this is the hospitality. Like we love interacting with people. We love having that connection, and like that's for sure what I miss the most. I cannot wait to have, to be responsibly having people back in the tap room. Us being able to keep dedicating the money into building this team of people who care this fucking much. Like that's the silver lining. Like that's the part, like we haven't fucking missed a step. Yeah. I'm just so excited to get back to a place where all of us can be like, yeah, man, I'm like literally it just feels so foreign. Like the thought of being like, yeah, I just got off work. I'm just going to swing by and say what up to some of my buddies and grab a beer or 3.
I don't feel like we've done a wrap up for the 12th day. I mean, this is like the day. I'm fucking lit. I'm so fucking lit, dude. All these beers, bitch.
Hey.
Chip, on a fun fact,
Yeah.
I have been watching your videos since before I was professionally brewing, and this is the first time I'm finally on it, so it's kind of like an honor, by the way.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yep. Straight up.
All right, boys.
All right.
Guys.
Night, boys.
Dude, this.
Thank you so much, Chip.
Cheers.
Yes, sir. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Midway, bitches.
Matt, I think you're muted right now. Oh,
Justifiable.
it's fucking.
I don't think he's muted. I think he's just kind of like feeling the vibe.
No,
You're
I was
curating?
muted.
Oh, okay.
It's like I got dogs. I've got. There's
This was.
the
Yeah,
best
like,
beer.
and it's-
I would go ahead, Murph. Yeah, sorry about that.
No. Like I was gonna say nonsense. So.
No, I just did like
I don't
to that
believe
cold,
it.
like
I don't believe
in that same realm. Dude, I'm drunk.
Perfect.
Oh,
So let's do
Like,
that.
we can make you drunk to pass out. Like we specialize in making you drunk to pass out. It's kind of our thing. This is my shit.
So,
like I want to own this, and I want
I mean,
like same thing
we're
to make
getting-
culture shit where it's like
getting crazy.
Yeah,
We're
it's
getting
like
crazy.
I'm gonna be proud of every fucking thing that we put out of this place, and if I'm not, it's not fucking seeing the light of day, dude. And it's like it's
Yep. Yeah, I'm not like I went light on that. I'm like, okay,
no judgment.
shower.
That's what I
Can we
was
talk
gonna
about how
say.
great shower beers are?
Dude, I've actually been
Yeah.
drinking this because Murph was like, well, here's a bunch of this shit. And I was like, all right, I only need 2 of them.
and like anyways, sorry,
No, I'm good.
I think I had about a third of the plum, half of the cider ranch, 1/8 of the merchant, and sipping my margarita because I'm a couple shades into the wind right now.
I gotta pee.
same.
Oh, sweet. Yep, I have to so bad.
Perfect.
Merc, for the record, I heard you.
What'd you say? Oh, you
For
heard
the
me
record,
speak?
I heard you.